started to respond, but I didn't. But it truly did prompt me to say, let's use this as an opportunity, because I'm sure that other women or men are out there that are trying to figure out, man, should I do this? Is this the right thing? I'm hot, y'all. So we have kind of, Brian said, we need to have some topics so that we're not all over the place, because we can. Like, we can take y'all from year 1 to year 9 tonight, but we're not going to do that. We're going to give y'all little pieces, right? And if y'all want more, we give you more. But I'm going to start with just marriage is work. And anyone who is married, has been married, you can attest to that, right? Marriage is work. And is it worth the work? It's worth the work with the right person. And so Brian, just a little bit of history, Brian and I met, I'd say first we met at the gym. And then we didn't exchange numbers, right? Because he was doing his thing. He was doing his thing. So we didn't actually exchange numbers. But I don't even know if we had an exchange. I'm sure we had some sort of an exchange at the gym. And then it might have been a couple months later, I ran across this dude's profile online. Yes, ma'ams and yes, sirs. It was online because I didn't get out as much, being new to Atlanta at the time. And so we ran across, I met this dude online. And it wasn't until like one day we were driving and talking, and I was like, oh my goodness, you the dude that I met at the gym. And so I first met him at the gym and then met him online again.
I don't know if it went that way.
How did it go,
okay.
baby?
I think what happened is that we talked on the phone a few times, and then we met at Panera Bread's.
So fast forward, we dated for a while, got engaged.
No, we did. We dated.
We dated for a while.
I think we kind of jumped in there. We just kind of both knew.
Okay, we both knew, but we dated for a while. We both knew, but we dated for a while. And then we got engaged. And if I'm being really honest, hey, Soror.
What's up, Yana?
And so we come from backgrounds and various, trauma for different reasons, right? We were both hurt. We were both in, different relationships prior to meeting each other. Brian was married before I was. Brian was married prior to meeting me. I'm sorry. And this was my first marriage.
You sure? You got something you want to tell me?
And so we got married.
Found out on my 9th anniversary that my wife was married before. Amazing.
We got married, and we really had to learn and figure each other out. Thanks for Sean. We had to learn and figure each other out. And there were lots of bumps. It was a challenge. And I can say that on our rehearsal dinner, was it our rehearsal dinner? Brian and I.
No, it was actually at the rehearsal. I didn't even stay. I didn't know for the rehearsal. I didn't even stay for the rehearsal.
So
I showed up at the rehearsal, dropped a couple of people off, and I left.
Real story, right? Real talk.
So we argued and fussed all night.
We did. Real talk, real challenges. And we did. We argued over, I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
But it was like, should I marry him? Should I marry her? Should I show up tomorrow? Like, it was bad, y'all. It was bad. And when I say bad, it wasn't like, we throwing hands or anything. But it was bad, and it was over something small. So small. I don't remember what it was. Brian, I'm sure, probably does.
Nah, my memory ain't like yours. Our whole grudge like you.
So, got up that morning, right? I think both apologized and just realized that, like, it's...
I don't think so. I think we actually, after everything was over and done with, everybody went home. I think you went to the venue and stayed the night there. I came back to the house.
We did.
And I think we talked on the phone all night. And I think that's when we squashed it.
Before we walked down the aisle.
Yeah. So we stayed on the phone 2 or 3 hours like we in high school. basically, and that's what we decided that we was gonna go through with it.
He make it sound like, dang, y'all.
That's
And so I share that because, again, I'll go back to what I said. Marriage is work. And it started really rocky from that lens because we both had dealt with bad, right? We knew bad, but we were like, all right, how do we navigate this situation amongst us, right?
I think in conjunction with that, though, it was a lot. It was a lot because we're both strong. We were both single people doing our own thing, living in our own situations, and to be able to let another person kind of come into your space at that point, it was different. I know for me, because I say sometimes I don't think, I guess I kind of laugh at it now, but I don't necessarily think that, man, was I supposed to get married then? I could have gave myself a few years or whatever, but I mean, when you know, you know. But getting through that conflict of having somebody in your space when you were used to having your own space, it can be difficult. So
it was, right? And we had growing pains, right? He said it earlier. We had growing pains. And I can admit, just like when we did our own lives, I can admit that I was in my own way. We are two Sagittarius, like hands down, right? We can get emotional. I'm probably the one out of us two that will hold grudges a bit longer.
Oh yeah.
And
she don't even say sorry no more, y'all. She used to say sorry when we were dating. But now she got me. She don't say sorry no more.
I'm gonna keep saying real conversations, right? Real marriage challenges. And so we had to figure it out. And for me, I hadn't been married. So I had this mindset of, oh, I got this. Like, I can do this, so I don't need you. I'm good. You say no, I'm going to go and do it anyway. And I had to realize that that's not what marriage is about. And it was hard. I say it was harder for me than it was for him because he knew what it took to be married, and I didn't. And I was rolling like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I don't need a man. I don't need for you to, and I came into this marriage still thinking that because it was easy for me. It was my wall. It was the way that I would protect myself from being hurt again. And so I needed to always make sure that I had, for me, that one up, in the sense of, all right, if you decide to leave tomorrow, I'm good, right? And so it was easier for me to keep that wall up. And so it was a lot of just back and forth because it was a challenge for me in that lens, right? And so it
goes equal because my mechanism was, well, I'm gonna just go. When something went bad, I'm like, yo, I'm out.
I'm gonna leave.
Because I would rather not be in a pretentious, situation versus, just kind of being there, thinking I'm going to be miserable. And plus, I have that. I won't say I have that background, but I've had some broken relationships where it was like, when you feel abandoned or you feel lost or you feel by yourself, that's the thing. You feel like you're most protected when you're by yourself. So that was my mechanism.
And every time, and I say every time, y'all, like, we were arguing. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to, when I say marriage is work, but it's worth it. It is, with the right person. And so when we would argue, his thing was, well, I'm going to just pack my stuff and leave, right? I'm gone. And I was just like, is this how this shit going to be? I mean, that's how I was. And so while I had my thing, I would hold grudges and I can just not talk to you for a few days. But he's like, I'm packing my stuff and I'm leaving. And I was like, okay. And then it would piss him off even more because that was my response. Was like, okay. And that would make him even more upset. And so it was growing. But I can say that we are here, right? We are here. We are amazing. We're not, we're not there. And so when I say how it started versus how it's going, it's not that. Once we got through that, I say grew up, I know that we are in a much better place than what we were.
I guess I don't know if I consider it growing up, but I think making a transition. I think for me, I got married young, so for me it was more so I don't want to do the bad thing again, I don't want to be in a bad relationship or a toxic relationship again. So for me, it was more like I know what I don't want.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I think whenever I saw like something that was pretentious or toxic, I automatically, recoiled and was ready to just bounce, because it was like, look, life too short. I ain't got time for all of this.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that you
Thank
gotta
you.
care. You gotta care.
Yeah.
You have to. It has to be a priority. The same things that you did to get a person, you have to do a lot of that stuff to appreciate that person and keep. Well, I won't say keep them, because it makes it seem like they can leave at any time, even though they can. But if your relationship is built on something that is concrete, then you give a damn.
Yeah.
You care about how they feel. You care about hurting them. People, it's crazy because people ask the question sometimes, what's greater, love or respect? For me, it's respect, and I'll tell you why I think so. Respect. When you respect a person, you will actually go through a wall rather than hurt that person, rather than to see that person sad or not themselves. Because people call themselves falling in love every week. Love don't get you not cheated on. But when you respect a person, then you will do everything in your power not to hurt that person, and you will think of them and their feelings first. So that's my logic for the greater of the two. When you respect somebody, the love will come. So
Boy, you're so smart.
I try to be. It's the glasses.
So real quick before we move on, I know there are a couple comments. Hey y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. But I think Sandra said how long, and I think she was referring to thank y'all for the anniversary wishes. 9 years, 9 years, 9 years. Yeah. I think Sandra said how long. What's a while? Sandra, were you asking how long we were? What's a while in terms of how long we dated or engaged? So engaged was a year.
So you damn know.
Engaged was a year.
Hey, let's get up and do this all over again next week.
And so we were engaged for a year, if that's what you were asking. And then Shalita, totally worth it. I'm 9 years married come June, and despite what we go through, which is absolutely stick it out. So I'm gonna transition to the next thing because I don't want to hold you all too long. I promise y'all we can talk about so much. Lord, we pray for Brian. You know what, Buck? Yeah, you know what? That's okay, Buck. You know what? I'm gonna see you after this live. I'm gonna see you. So the other thing, I have to ask this question. Because again, the goal is for that couple, for that person that is close to getting married, that person that's dating, the person that's thinking about it, that person that's like, man, I'm single, I want to be married. I want y'all to know that is it worth it? It is. But I don't want you to go into it thinking it's roses, it's what's, because so many times we see people on TV and we want that. I was that person, right? I want what they have. And when I tell you, even dating, right? Even through marriage, Brian will be like, you don't know what they got going on.
We ain't there.
Right? Because I had never been married.
Don't compare our relationship to other folks'
stuff. And so I want to make sure that you all know that and that you're hearing that, because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And you don't know the struggles that individuals have. And what we see is all the roses and things are amazing. But you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And so I want to ask you, did kids change? Did kids change the dynamics of a relationship?
The crazy thing is that, my kids 20 years apart. I was an empty nester when I met her. So almost an empty nester. My kids were getting ready to graduate high school. So for me,
what did I say to you up in there, Reg? You want kids? Yeah,
even then, I think it was more so for me. It was like, if I have, because I didn't have a son at the time. Hell, I still have a son, but it's probably my fault from all the stuff I used to do. But anyway, it made me kind of realize that there's another piece of me that I can offer. You know, I didn't give all of me away in my first marriage, and that made me understand I had a lot more that I could give, a lot more of myself I could give. You know, God allowed me to do it again, and went in hopes for me to do it better. There were a lot of times during first few years of the kids being here. Well, you're being a parent, and it's like, you know how you have like kids, and then you had a other kid, and so when the other kid, it's almost like it ain't like you don't care about the other kid, but you're not as what's the word I'm looking for? Your sense of urgency ain't as great. If the other kid is like
I love
screaming,
both my babies.
if the other kid ain't screaming, like no, I'm talking about between. You know how you had that one kid. When the first kid dropped her pacifier, you throw the whole pacifier away. Second kid dropped the pacifier, you pick that bad boy up, get back to her. Well, that was my mindset in a lot of cases between the twins and Hartford. Hating was easy, but I'll say that it was different, but still I had to realize that man, I have to be more focused on trying to do the daddy like day to day.
I'm gonna just hold it.
Yeah, the daddy day to day things that it was just like, man, hey man, I was a bachelor shit a year ago. What you doing to me? So it was different.
So this is what I'll say with kids. He's right. Brian and our challenge with kids was that
I thought she was gonna leave for a minute, because I was like, I take that on the chin, because there were a lot of things that I could have done a lot better instead of saying, instead of acting like, because I know she probably felt like I said, shit, I just gave you the kids, you need to raise some.
I did. So let's talk about that, right? Let's be really honest. So April said, yes, I think kids change the dynamics because you go from doing what absolutely. And then now you have to consider kids.
For what you want to do.
You do.
For what you gotta do.
But what I'll say is...
And they too broke dinner dates.
Correct, right? And so we went through counseling. And I felt like at the time, it was 2020. It was at the height of COVID, actually. I think that's when we did. We went through we went through counseling during COVID.
It was right before COVID.
It was during COVID.
It was right before COVID.
Because our office was closed. And that's why it was closed.
It was right. I was gonna say, it was right. What the events were right before COVID that led into the counseling.
Thank you for the happy anniversary. The events absolutely was
before. And then the counseling kind of came shortly thereafter. And then COVID kind of hit while we were doing the counseling thing. And then we were able to go in, the first 2 sessions. And then because of COVID, we had to do the virtual thing. So.
And we went through it, and I initially, I'll be honest, I was afraid. I was, oh my goodness, what is he gonna think? And then I was like, okay, I can't tell people we went through counseling, but it's real. And he said something that is very accurate, and we're gonna wrap in about 10 minutes. But he said, I thought she was gonna leave. I was close, right? It was 7 years or so, and I was close to, I don't want to do this anymore. Because I did feel like...
And we both were there.
Yeah, I felt like you have 2 older children, right? And things... I was new to being a mom. I didn't know parenting, as we know, does not come with a book. And I needed to figure out, how do we navigate being a parent, and how do I navigate having bonus kids, and hearing him, because he would say, well, stop jumping up, or I'm not going to do things the way that you would do things as mom. And when I tell y'all, that was the hardest thing, and I was like, well, why not? How come you can't put Vaseline on and put lotion on when they get out of the shower and make sure that they, teeth is brushed, to make sure that you get in they ain't getting in the tub with the...
I didn't put lotion on the twins either. They walked around ashy. So
he said he didn't put lotion on the twins.
If it's in the constellation.
But I say that out loud so that you hear how minor it might sound, right? Because it is in the grand scheme of things. And his thing was, They're fed, they breathing, they fine. But my thing was, I need to make sure they're always presentable. I want to make sure that they grow up and they know, just various things. And I was new navigating this. And I have to tell this because I'll laugh, right? But before I was pissed. And I remember I said, hey, Brian, they might have been 4, 2 and 4, 2 and 3. And I was like, hey, babe, can you give them a shower or a bath? And he was like...
In the middle of Monday Night Football.
In the middle of Monday Night Football. He gave him a bath. I walk upstairs. The tub is run. The water's run. And the tub had a ring around it. And I said, you didn't clean out the tub? And he said, it builds character. It builds character. I was pissed. Right? But is that something I should be pissed about? Nope. He's doing it. But I was, because I was a new mom and I was navigating this doggone thing and I was trying to figure out. So I know now that April 11, I know now that I was so tired. And so I say that to y'all to say that is a real those were real situations. Did we get through it? We did. I had to figure out, Letitia, it's okay. Are there still things that be like, really, did you that? Sometimes, but it's okay. They're loved. They're cared for. I know he will go to the ends of the earth for them. That is what's important. And so for that person that is struggling and they're trying to figure out, I'm not saying let the routine go because I still have a routine. They will always have a routine, right? But if he says or she says, I'll do it, let him do it. Let him do it. And be okay that it's going to get done. Now, I say that, but I still work on it, right? I'm like, what? Hey, bedtime is 8:30. They should be in bed now. Yeah. But I just do it, and I'm okay with that, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason I was such a stickler to schedules is because when they're down at 8 or 8:30, that means, mommy, I have time to breathe. And so I know I just said a whole lot, but that's real, y'all.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a message for any of y'all new moms, out there. It's like don't make yourself a nervous wreck. It's gonna be all right.
It builds character.
It does that too. But sometimes you lose your hair because of you. I mean, I don't mean that figuratively, but I mean it in the sense of you making yourself crazy when you don't have to. Take it one step at a time. And everything ain't got to be a damn emergency. Everything. Stop listening to Steve Harvey too. Shit.
I like Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I like Steve Harvey. But, so April says, I'm a stickler for schedule. It makes life easy. It does. It does make life easy.
It does.
That's the mom in us.
But the thing about it is that you can't, everybody, and it's like I used to always say, everybody's not going to do what you do. Everybody's not going to be on your schedule. And you have to, in order to be a partner, you have to understand that you have to understand there's going to be times that I'm going to do it the way you want to do it. There's going to be times that I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay. So
I want to make sure that I covered the couple of questions and then we will wrap up. When I'm trying to help my husband, he thinks I'm trying to be him. He thinks I'm trying to be him take his place maybe. Mm-hmm. Brian, please explain his viewpoint as a man. So Ingrid, I just want to make sure.
When you're trying to help him do, is you trying to help him do just certain things or whatever?
When I'm trying to help my husband, he thinks I'm trying to
be him.
I'm so sorry, Ingrid. If you can
take his place,
retype your question.
If you're speaking in the sense of, I don't want to and try to interpret what you're saying. But I guess you have to understand, as men, we're stupid, and I don't mean that in the sense of my man is dumb as hell. I mean that we're simple creatures we're like puppies. All you gotta do is feed us and pet us and let us know that you love us.
Don't require much. But
the thing about it is I go back to, it's a respect thing. And for me, respect is probably the highest thing on the list. If I feel as if I am a part of the solution, then I'm okay. Many times, when we go through things, right. So a lot of times when we go through
try
things,
to offer to help.
right, and in some cases that's fine, but let that be the last resort. If depending on what his mindset is, I mean, even men are different. If he's the type that pays certain bills and he's used to paying those bills, you let him. I mean, but if he's not, then you have to allow him to find an alternative. But the thing about it is he needs to talk to you. Y'all need to have a conversation. He don't need to put everybody else in y'all business, but y'all need, if there's something coming up, that may be challenging, y'all need to have a conversation. No matter what that is. But you do pick your battles, but in terms of finding a solution, let him be a part of that solution, whatever that is.
If he's open to it.
Because sometimes, when I was gonna make this, I don't know if I don't think he's angry because he's not angry because you're taking his place. He's angry because he's probably feeling inadequate. Most men in a relationship want to be able to take care of their family, and if you feel like you can't, that bothers us. And a lot of times we show that we may not show that in the right way. We may not show that in the right way. We may take it out on the person that we don't need to take it out on. And so, but like I said, it goes back to respect and allowing him to be a part of whatever solution that y'all come up with. It's not so much as about you doing it. Well, I guess it is, because he doesn't want you to feel, the big picture is he doesn't want you to feel like he's inadequate or one day you'll stop respecting him as your husband. That's the big thing. So, like I said, y'all communicate, y'all talk about it. Sometimes y'all might have to, I guess I grew up, my role model was my grandfather. He was the guy who took care of everything. He was the guy but my grandmother was a strong backbone in it. So I saw that role, that role structure in my grandparents' house. But, I've learned that, life and love and marriage and respect, it doesn't have a gender role when you're partners. And that's the one thing that I love about my relationship now, because I have a partner and I don't have, it's like, y'all see this woman, what she doing? I ain't got to take care of her. I enjoy it, but she can do her thing, right? But I enjoy the partnership. And for me, that's what it's about. It's about the partnership. It's about the relationship. It's about having an open dialogue. It's about being able to just say what you feel and not feeling like you're going to get criticized about it, even if the other person don't want to hear it. That's the important thing. So
thank y'all. Look, these kids, they should be in bed now. They like, oh, mommy and daddy occupied. But thank y'all so much. I really pray that you all got some value. Again, it's all about transparent, open conversation. We never want you all to, you see certain things, right? You see us post pictures and post videos and you see the smiling faces and things of that nature. But we wanted to just truly share that we love each other. But we also know that this came with some hurdles, and we're in an amazing place. And while we are not where we were, I wanted you all to take you all on that journey so that you knew. And so if you are contemplating marriage and if you're there, go for it. It's worth it. Mm-hmm. Just make sure you keep the lines of communication open. Make sure that you talk. Make sure you have a partner. Make sure you have a best friend. Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to make sure that you all heard that. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to say, don't give up, right? Anything worth having, again, is worth fighting for. Right. And so don't give up. You put in the work, and I promise you it will pay dividends. The rewards are well worth it. Right. And so thank y'all so much for the anniversary wishes. Thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Ingrid says share.
Thank y'all for sharing with us. This was fun.
So Ingrid, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Like I said, just